Hey guys, how we doing? We're back in another video from Annie News. These Overlord videos are so good. I love how informative they are. And we did the how powerful are the characters, and we've done who's Albedo and who's Albedo's sisters. Now the Albedo sisters was cool, and you guys are really cool at this because you mentioned stuff that wasn't mentioned in the video, in the comments, and that's cool. Like, I like when a conversation starts between everyone and us, and it's awesome. And I'm loving these who are, because you learn some really interesting stuff about the characters. And Demiurge is one of my favourite. I love Demiurge. He's so cool. He's so clever. He is the mastermind behind everything. And I love how he's just organising everything. And then just calling it Ainz' plan. And Ainz is like, yeah, sure. you do that. It's awesome. So let's do this. This is Who is Demiurge? Who is Demiurge? Lore, creation, twisted characteristics. Interesting. Let's do this. Pandora's actually just flying around.
Alright, let's talk about Ainz' right-hand man and tactical genius.
Yes.
Demiurge if you watch the dub, or Demiurgus if you watch the sub.
There we are.
As per usual, this will be part 1 of 2 covering everything from
But we've already seen 2, and I know you got, some of you had a bit of a thing about it,
so,
but
let's begin.
we've already been there.
This might come as a shock to you, but the Guild of Ainz Ul Gon often like to roleplay as evil villains. I know, right?
Really?
Who would have thought?
What?
I guess, after all, one of the conditions for joining was to play a heteromorphic race, which does consist of some rather monstrous and evil-looking
Love that
creatures.
idea, though.
However, it wasn't always this way. Initially, the guild was nothing more than a means for heteromorphic players to band together, since, as I've mentioned before, there were no penalties imposed on players who killed heteromorphs. This resulted in a natural animosity between heteromorphs and non-heteromorphs.
Right.
I mean, it's only natural that given the opportunity to PK without any repercussions, that
You'd do
would do it.
You would,
Who doesn't
in a
like
game.
some good old open world PvP?
Division.
But heteromorph killing damn near bordered on straight cyberbullying, since most of the players preferred to play as humanoid characters.
This is cool.
Those who played the monsters and demons.
So they banded
were
together
very
to
much
basically
outnumbered
protect
and ganged up
themselves.
on. But as the guild grew and established itself as a prominent force in Yggdrasil, it drifted away from its original purpose of protecting and supporting its members towards some more traditional endgame MMO content like raiding and guild PvP,
Class.
since they could finally play the game in peace. Along the way, a good chunk of the guild members embraced the reputation of their avatars and indulged in some role-playing as supervillains, trying to make a name for the guild as a legion of evil masterminds,
Awesome,
all
love
while
it.
fashioning Nazarick and its NPCs as a realm of monstrously evil creatures. Even
Cool.
Ainz, back when he was known as Momonga, styled his character after an evil necromancer of death, mostly for roleplay purposes. It wasn't a particularly strong build in the metagame, but he enjoyed it, and supplemented it with good gear and solid tactics to make it work. But there was no guild member who took to playing the part of a villain more wholeheartedly and eagerly than Ulbert Alain Odol, who,
Right.
you guessed it, was Demiurge's creator.
Right, okay.
This intense roleplay was for no reason other than
There's always one
just
person
have
that
the
takes
most
it
fun acting as evil as
really
possible.
far,
Obviously,
but I love that.
he wasn't evil in real life, but guild members often thought him to be something of a Chunibyu, someone with the delusion that they have special powers that no one else has.
Yeah.
But in actuality, if he was something, it'd just be a misanthrope. A person with a dislike towards human society and just other people in general.
Yeah.
As such, he didn't like most people and didn't make very many friends. But in the guild, he could be free to indulge in his darkest desires. Mainly
Of
to
course,
trick,
it's
manipulate,
fantasy.
ambush, and exploit other guilds. Operating with the knowledge that the game was ultimately just a game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that nobody had been really
There's
hurt
no
at
real
the end
repercussions,
of the day.
yeah.
Unless you're playing a team-based game like League of Legends or Overwatch, which in that case you have a very high chance of breaking your hands from smashing your keyboard or punching a hole through your monitor. But anyway, it's not like he played as some kind of sociopath. He just enjoyed more romantic elements of villainy.
Makes it more
He
fun,
was
doesn't
the
it?
one that suggested the guild members should assemble in the throne room to congratulate any invading players who made it all the way through the multiple floors of Nazarick,
Awesome.
before partaking in a final glorious battle, or just shit-stomping them back to wherever they resurrect in Yggdrasil.
See ya.
It's from the same vein as a tyrant facing down the heroes before they fight for the fate of a country. It's this penchant for romanticized villainy that Ulbert so deeply idolized that made its way into Demiurge, whom he
So
designed to be
cool.
the ultimate evil mastermind.
Yes.
While Ulbert could have just named his creation Satan or Lucifer if he wanted him to sound like
Oh yeah, why did he call him this?
being, it's clear that he wanted to give him a name that was a little more original and unique,
Yes.
but just as fitting. Christian mythos has long since been a popular source of imagery for Japanese creators, what with shows like Death Note, Neon Genesis Evangelion, or even High School DxD. But
Yeah, it
apparently
does,
that
yeah.
wasn't quite cool enough for Ulbert, so he went with something a little less known.
Oh.
In the old Jewish Christian religion of Gnosticism, the Demiurge, deriving from the Greek for creator, is the architect of the material universe.
Oh.
Not just its creator, but sort of a craftsman or artisan of it. In some of the more dualistic branches of Gnosticism, the spiritual world is pure and good, while the material world is more base, impure, and corrupt.
Oh.
Thus, the Demiurge is sometimes seen as a hostile force that envies its spiritual counterpart.
Cool.
One branch in particular also refers to him as Jaldabaoth, who then adopted the title of the Demiurge, or Creator, in an attempt to arrogantly stake claim over a world that he was only partially responsible for making. We can see some of these properties mirrored in the Demiurge from Overlord.
Cool.
The first and most obvious is that he is quite corrupt and evil.
Yeah.
In fact, perhaps a little too evil for his namesake, who is sometimes seen as misguided or flawed. Though that might have more to do with how the Yggdrasil morality system worked than anything. Demiurge has a karma value of negative 500.
Whoa.
Also known as pure evil, which would have been quite useful for certain game mechanics.
That's amazing.
In the case of some of the less evil NPCs like Antoma or Aura, with karma values of negative 100 each, their evil takes the form of a callous disregard or apathy for the lives and suffering of others.
Well, yeah, you can see that
by
within the
contrast,
characteristics when they're
doesn't
fighting
commit
people.
evil acts just because he doesn't care about others. No. He cares very much about causing as much suffering as possible.
Wow.
He is a pure sadist who relishes in the pain and
dark.
misery of others,
But he's very
and will
clever.
seek every opportunity to do so. The only thing fundamentally keeping him in check, of course, are Ainz's orders. But so long as he can still accomplish them, he'll take every opportunity he can find to spread as much of that misery and suffering as he
That's
can.
quality.
To show
I
just
love
how
it.
evil he is as clearly and easily as possible, let's use an example.
Okay.
There's a place that the Overlord community likes to refer to, known as Demiurge's Happy Farm.
Right.
You see, Ainz was a
Pending.
bit concerned about the state of Nazarik's finances and supplies. Sure, his storehouses were filled with all the materials he needed to manufacture large quantities of potions, scrolls, food, weapons, and even armor.
Right.
But there was really no way to replace the extremely high-level ingredients needed to make them, which were all sourced from Yggdrasil's dungeons. This meant no long-term sustainability. But Demiurge, being the evil genius he is,
Right.
says he'll start running some experiments on sourcing quality ingredients in the New World. Spell scrolls came first. Ordinary paper was only good for level 1 spell scrolls.
Right.
High-tier scrolls had to be made from the hides of rare magical beasts like dragons.
Oh.
A very strong emphasis on the rare. Because of their rarity, the goal then became to find a source which was common enough to explore mass manufacturing techniques, but which could also be used to create higher-level scrolls. Makes sense, right? So what was Demiurge's
People die if they're killed.
Bipedal sheep, of course, also commonly referred to as humans. The first lucky test subjects were the surviving members of the Sunlight Scripture from Season 1.
Ah, okay.
Demiurge also began kidnapping numerous villagers from the Robile Holy Kingdom far to the southwest.
Oh.
Obviously, the further from Nazarik the better, so as to avoid anything being tracked back to Ainz somehow.
Of course.
He even attempted to kidnap hundreds of
He's so
thousands of
clever.
humans from the capital city of the Riestes kingdom. Though when Ainz found out, he quashed the idea and had them be mercifully executed instead of experimented on.
Ooh.
In any case, Demiurge began
Not losing all his
optimizing the
humanity
scroll
quite yet.
manufacturing process with very brutal efficiency. So you'd think that after skinning a human once that you'd be done with them and then move on to the next.
Oh god.
Nope.
Oh no.
Healing spells exist for a reason, and apparently they're for growing a full layer of skin back, just so they can remove it once again.
Oh.
Though anything removed from the body after said person was healed would disappear unless it were first processed and radically changed into something else.
Oh god.
Okay, that's pretty efficient, but we're just getting started. Once that process had been optimized and perfected, one human could produce dozens of layers of skin per day.
Oh.
So that solved the scroll issue. But what about food for the scroll supply? Well, wouldn't the same theory apply? Chop off an arm or a leg, make a soup out of it, heal them, then feed it back to them. It's brilliant. Optimization at its finest.
Oh my god.
Of course, this process could be done for any organism. But even then, Demiurge still wasn't done.
What?
It was important to find out what factors influenced scroll quality. The average human was good enough to produce level 3 scrolls.
Right.
But what about level 4?
4 or
This
higher.
required a lot more tests on a lot of humans. Be it young, old,
Oh,
strong,
God.
weak, it didn't matter. But many, many more test subjects were needed.
Oh my god.
The most important step after
This is
that
mental.
became domestication. Humans by nature are a fairly complex species, but just like a horse, given enough time, their spirit could be broken. Though the process was difficult, since humans are generally more sophisticated and intelligent than your typical farm animal, and our actions are not so easy to predict. Fortunately, figuring out what others think and do, then coming up with a strategy to defeat it, is one of Demiurge's many specialties.
Yes, of course.
But more on that later. You may be wondering why Demiurge chose humans instead of any other species to be his test subjects, especially since the upper limit of the quality of their skin was between the 3rd and 4th tier. Well, the answer is simple. Demiurge would derive the most enjoyment from relentlessly and mercilessly torturing humans. Yup.
Oh.
It was primarily due to the fact that humans were relatively intelligent and sophisticated, and boy did he try his best to enjoy himself.
Yeah?
In one rather graphic instance, he butchered a family's kids right in front of their eyes. He then proceeded to invite them to come and watch while he fed those kids to another family.
What?
This family had been nearly starved to death, and as such, they ravenously devoured the meal. To Demiurge,
Oh my
this was for
God.
no other reason than to just relish the looks on their faces and enjoy the resentment that this fostered between the two groups.
Oh my god.
Though it was performed under the guise of a domestication experiment, so not to seem as if it was pointless. This sick mentality that Demiurge
Oh my
had
God, he's messed
did
up.
not hinder his path to success, though. He attempted to find the most sadistic solution possible while also effectively achieving results. Sure, human skin was limited to the level of spell scroll
This
that
is
they
so
could
messed
produce,
up.
but Demiurge still saw many more possibilities to explore. Such as, what if humans crossbred with a different race? I mean,
Right.
half-elves and half-orcs already existed, so they
Not
know it's
actually half-orc,
possible.
yeah.
Think of all the possibilities that could come from this. As such, he began some forced breeding experimentation to see if he could produce a new mixed race of creatures that would provide better results.
Oh, okay.
Then, whatever process with the humans showed the most promising results, he would then use on the species that produced the highest level quality items. No need to waste precious resources when you can experiment on the most widely available guinea pig on the planet, humanity.
Yeah.
So yes, Demiurge is, well, a sick fuck.
He is.
But there was a brutal
Whoa.
intelligence and efficiency to his sadism that you can't help but appreciate. Moving on, as I had mentioned in the previous Albedo video, Demiurge and Albedo are by far the most intelligent NPCs in Nazarick.
Yeah.
Demiurge in particular regularly comes up with good plans that can benefit Nazarick, and since Ainz trusts his intelligence, he gives him broad discretion to implement them as he sees fit. Though it often seems like Ainz doesn't really know all that much about the true personality of Ulbert's terrifying creation.
No, I don't think he
or
does.
just deliberately chooses not to know. That being said, his true specialties lie in military operations.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't want to know
Most
all the
notably
facts.
in the
Just get
situations where he had
results.
to
Don't want to feel
anticipate
bad about
the
it.
thought process of others and come up with an ingenious strategy to beating them. His design was intended to be a kind of military general, and much of his abilities
Lelouch.
lie in summoning lesser devils to do his bidding. This allows him to predict the actions and personalities of others. For example, just by reading about Princess Renner in Sebas's intelligence reports, he managed to figure out that she herself was a sadistic genius who might just serve as a useful collaborator to Nazarick.
Interesting.
He was also able to very easily predict that the Emperor would plan to betray Nazarick, almost as if he were reading an open book. It's this level of intellect
just knows
that
everything.
he proudly bears that feeds deeply into his arrogance, the second trait he shares with his namesake. Though you can't really say it's
He has
without justification.
Every right to be
Similar
arrogant,
to
though.
almost everyone in Nazarick, he refers to pretty much everyone not created by the Supreme Ones as a lesser being. I mean, compared to a level 100 NPC super genius, they might as well be.
Yeah.
Though this arrogance does not extend so far as to consider himself superior to any of the Supreme Ones.
No, he does not.
That level of respect has been deeply ingrained into the core of his personality,
Which is
and he
perfect
find
for
it very much
Ainz.
impossible to disobey
Could you
their
imagine?
orders. It brings up a neat little contradiction. Since none of them have his superior intellect, shouldn't this feed his arrogance enough to influence his opinions of them? This brings up one of Ainz's biggest fears, thinking that one day his currently loyal subordinates will unmask his true person,
Yeah.
lose their respect for him, and then abandon him. Especially Demiurge and Albedo, because of how intelligent he
Could you
knows they
imagine?
already
That
are.
never happened, though.
Fortunately for Ainz, it is because they are so intelligent that he doesn't have much to worry about. Demiurge can easily rationalize Ainz's bad ideas by coming up with excuses and justifications
That's what he does, doesn't
why
he?
they are secretly brilliant, which he is inclined to do because of his deeply rooted loyalty and respect. He often deludes
Perfect.
himself into thinking that the reason why Ainz's ideas seem so dumb at times is because he has this unfathomable intellect. Demiurge then tries his best
Yeah, he's
to
like,
read
no
between the
one can
lines and
comprehend
find whatever
Ainz.
hidden purpose or goals that there may be. So, unlike his namesake from Gnosticism that's jealous of the true creator that stands above him, Overlord Demiurge is more than willing to accept the fact that the Supreme Ones stand far above himself, and even seems more than willing to elevate them to that position himself. Then the third and final trait that he shares with the Demiurge is that of the artisan.
Right.
Much like Ulbert, he prefers his villainy to have an element of artistry and romanticism to it.
A finesse.
He enjoys the suffering of others, but what he seeks goes beyond sadism.
I love how he wears a
doesn't
suit.
just want people to suffer. He wants to expertly craft the maximal amount of suffering possible.
Yes, make it
His villainy is an
as
art,
effective
and
as
he is the
possible.
painter. He's always in search for greater perfection and depth to his craft. Giving his victims a sense of
Amazing.
ease before completely trampling all over it is a common trap that he likes to use. Exemplified best when he accidentally killed Evil Eye's friends right in front of her in order to maximize her pain and suffering.
Yeah.
He then likes to play coy and use euphemisms to describe his evil acts. One of his minions, Pulcinella, styled after a Victorian-era theatrical comedy character, describes Demiurge as this merciful overlord by reframing all of his actions in the nicest terms possible. This is partially the reason why the human hide farm has been ironically dubbed the Happy Farm.
Wow.
So part of the reason why Ainz doesn't really know much of what Demiurge is up to is because he just plays it off as something minor.
Yeah, it's not a
He
big
sees
deal.
humor in ironically referring to humans as bipedal sheep, and assumes that Ainz gets the joke. But he doesn't.
No.
This deep interest in theatrical villainy even influences his Jaldabaoth persona, so that Ainz could have this infamous being to defeat later on. He rather enjoyed
Genius.
the opportunity to play act as some sort of noble rogue that could treat Ainz's Momon persona with such great respect, since, after all, no other being outside of Nazarick could ever match him and be deserving of such a response.
Yeah.
And those are the three main aspects of Demiurge and how he's influenced by his namesake. An interesting thing to note is that it's said that a demon's power is intrinsically related to its name. The name itself carries enough power that summoners invoke it to call demons into the material world. It's so fundamental, in fact, that it's believed that a demon who tries to pass itself off with a false name would just disappear out of existence.
Interesting.
The New World also functions in this way, which is why Demiurge can use Jaldabaoth freely without repercussion. Perhaps it was Ulbert who wrote it into his lore so that Demiurge could be known by multiple names.
Cool.
Since, after all, they are pretty much synonymous to each other.
Melts the sword.
But yeah, that's the lore behind what's arguably one of the most evil entities within
It
Nazarick.
really is.
I probably should have put up a not safe for work tag, but hey, if you're watching Overlord already, then you should already know what to expect.
What to expect, yeah.
Though, personally, that Happy Farm is definitely overkill, but really plays a huge role in building his character. Anyway, next part we'll be covering how strong he is,
Oh, man.
along with his role in Nazarick. So as always, thanks again to
We've,
Shane for doing the research on this.
We've
and
already
thank you
done the
so
how
much for
strong
watching.
is.
A really quick side note, I'm looking for artists to commission for a t-shirt design, so if you are one, or know
Go on the
anyone
t-shirts
who
down
is,
the end, we'll come up
then
with
feel
it
free
really
to
good.
message me on Twitter, and then I'm sure we can work something out. But
I
now,
do
it's my pleasure.
apologise for the order that I
Ciao.
did these in. It's just, I think it's because of my Naruto videos that I've been watching recently from Swagkage. It's like how strong he is, and I've seen everything else, so it's like I want to see how strong, and I really love like seeing how powerful these people have and what feats they've achieved. So then as soon as I've seen how strong is this character in Overlord, I'm like, yo, I want to see that too. Even though it was like the second part of the character discussion, but hey ho, it's too late now. Done that. I'm really enjoying these. I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm in a moment now where I'm really enjoying everything that we are watching, because we've got these Overlord character videos, like who are they, what they can do. There's the Hunter x Hunter videos from Alexander's, where it's like analysis on like certain characters and their roles within the show. Amazing, awesome. And then I've got the Swagkage and stuff, the programmer, like who's strong and how they could. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I'm really enjoying that you guys are liking it as well, because it doesn't work if you guys don't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It just is. There's no point. I mean, there is point. I enjoy it, and that's why I do these. But as long as you guys are enjoying it and you're leaving comments and having your discussions as well, that's boss. So good. I never thought I'd see the channel being what it is right now, and it's awesome. So good. I love it. And I feel good for that. And so, yeah, thank you. And thank you guys very much for watching. Demiurge is messed up, man, and I love it. He's probably bad. He's a bad boy. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. Yes, all of you guys and girls. But as a collective, you know, it's not sexist. Why do I do this to myself? Give me the shovel. I'll see you guys next time.